Alright, what is up, guys? I just washed the Apollo after the ride out at Florida Tracks and Trails on Saturday, and today is Wednesday, day after Christmas. So it was a few days after I rode it that I washed it, so it's a little, it didn't just rinse right off, but it was pretty sandy out there, so I mean, nothing really is really stuck on there. Once it got wet, it just, like, big pieces just went away. And I had to scrub some stuff. You can see, here's some places I couldn't get to scrubbing, and it's still, not shiny, but oh well, it's gonna get dirty the next time I ride it, so, yeah. So, let's do a damage check and see what happened while I was riding it. In the video, like the second or third time I fell over, I broke the clutch lever, so like that happened there. I was still able to use it the rest of the day, but it was inconvenient because it kept coming off and stuff. So I'm gonna have to get that replaced. Let's see, this kept coming out. I know there's a little rubber grommet right here, and that rubber grommet actually came out of this part, and so this was kind of coming off on and off, like this part is coming out from under the seat when I was riding, probably from when I was kickstarting it, because I did go through a big puddle and got the air filter wet, and it took like 15 minutes to start, so I did a lot of kickstarts during that time. And you can see there's a mark from my boot rubbing on it, so that's probably why that came off. And the actual rubber grip actually came off while I was doing that as well. And then just wear and tear, you can see here's some wear. This was all black before, now it's all scraped up from riding. So the paint is not very thick, it's very thin paint. But yeah, we got scuffs there, and let's see, paint wearing off on the pegs, and scuffs a little bit on here, but not too bad on this side, mainly on the other side with the kick-starting side. Yeah, so the clutch lever broke. Other than that, not much. You can see this bolt right here is like really loose, like almost coming out completely, like it's like finger loose. So I'll have to tighten that back up. That's the only thing I can visibly see with my eye that actually just came loose for just bolts like this. But I did ride the first trail that I rode again right before I left. I did not film it, and you can see that there's a lot of slack in the chain here. And if you look at the back, the wheel is actually crooked a little bit. So when I was going through the sand, I must have, a lot of torque on the engine, pulled the chain side, pulled this bolt up, and this one stayed where it is. So I'm gonna have to loosen this up and straighten the wheel out, make sure the chain is tight, and make sure it's straight, and then tighten it back up. And then I'll have to tighten the bolts. I'll go through all the other bolts and see if they came loose at all. But other than that, some sand on the brake lever. Other than that, it's all good. Just the broken clutch levers from when I fell over, and the wheel is crooked because loose bolt, and then you got the wear and tear. And that I'll probably zip tie this under here so it doesn't keep coming out when I'm riding. And yeah, I mean, it's not perfect anymore. I mean, I rode it and I'm going to keep riding it, so it's going to get dirty every time. So I'm not going to keep it perfect because it's not a show bike. It's just a cheap bike to have fun. So, but yeah, other than that, let's see, I might adjust the handlebars and maybe rotate this brake lever up a little bit because it was hitting my knee when I was turning sometimes. And other than that, it's all good. I should take the air filter off and clean that out. I don't know, probably just bang it out. I don't know if it's washable, but it did get wet. And maybe try to put this rubber thing back on. But I have red and white boots. So what I did is, these rubber things are black, but I wrapped them with duct tape so they don't get black marks on my boots. And that worked really well because the rubber is actually pretty sticky, so like this allows you to slide easier, to move your foot around on the lever and stuff. But yeah, she ran really well at the track. I rode on all 3 trails at Florida Tracks and Trails, and then I went on the beginner track for an hour, and then I went out on Trail 3 again. Trail 3 is the first trail I went on. And it actually took about an hour to run the first time and half hour to run it the second time. So, I mean, the first time, that was like my first time ever riding a dirt bike at all. I've only ridden like automatic ATVs before, and not on trails. And that was up in Minnesota. Down here it's Florida and sandy. And I just realized that, I think I have my tire pressure at about 20 PSI. And like when I was in first gear on the trails, my back tire was just spinning and it was really hard to get going. So I think next time I'm going to have to air down my tires, especially the back one, just to get traction in the sand so you have a more surface area, because the tire will squish out and you have more surface area for more grip. But other than that, she ran good. So I'm going to have to adjust the rear wheel, probably put that grip back on, because it is pretty slippery without the grip, because there's no marks on there to grip without it. And then, yeah, just adjust the back wheel and order a new clutch lever, and that should be it. Fun bike. I rode hard, other than the back wheel coming apart and breaking the clutch lever. That's not from riding hard, that's just from rider air falling over. She's a great bike so far. And yeah, subscribe and like for more content. We'll see you later.